You are listening to Shaoni, Born from the Light, by Iowan. Read by Kevin M. Connolly. Chapter 46. Back in Town. Imagine you lived in a world in which you were unable to think for yourself. Some sort of a lethargic universe where you would only move if someone gave you the instruction to move. Only think if someone told you to think. Only feel if someone told you it was all right. Would you like that? Imagine such a world. The light became dimmer as they advanced deeper and deeper into the woods. Before long, Shaoni had an odd feeling, as if they had entered into another world, a world of darkness, as it were. Shaoni didn't feel at ease. He looked at the wizard, who was not looking his usual self either. The wizard looked severe, angry almost. Or could this all be simply Shaoni's imagination? Could this just be an idea provoked in his mind? A sort of natural reaction to the fact that the light around was fading ever more. He looked back at the wizard, but what he saw only struck him with fear. Aniola had faded almost completely into some sort of a thick mist. Shaoni didn't like what was going on at all. Why was the light fading, as if to prevent him from seeing, distorting everything that was around, like looking through a veil? This wasn't just the wood. There was something else. Once again, Shaoni looked at the wizard walking right beside him. By now, he could barely see him anymore. "What's going on?" Shaoni whispered, afraid of awaking some sort of angry supernatural force lurking around in the bushes nearby. "Hush now," Aniola replied. "We are close to the world of none. The world where people go when they give up hope in life. Where people go when they surrender and let others take over their lives. Be silent, because in this world, you are no longer master over your own destiny, my boy. In this world, people have lost control." Shaoni remembered how, one day, Aniola had taught him that the world around was governed, not as most people thought, by their labor and willpower, but merely by the way they looked at it, and by what they expected to happen. "We are creators ourselves," Aniola had said, "and we have the power and the freedom to create for ourselves the world that we live in. Unfortunately, most of us have given this freedom away." They advanced slowly along the dim path. After a while, the trees grew further apart, but even now, clear of the trees, there was no light falling onto them. As they advanced, time seemed to linger forever, and yet nothing was happening. Shaoni was so absorbed by the great sadness that had now fallen over him and was clouding his mind, that he hadn't even noticed that they had arrived in a little town. The place was no more promising than the woods they had just left. As Shaoni looked around, he just saw a world of shimmers. Then, all of a sudden, he noticed that they were no longer alone. Scattered around, left and right, just sitting or standing there, with a gaze of pure nothingness in their eyes, he saw little groups of people. They weren't expecting anything, weren't looking forward to anything. They were just standing or sitting there, as if waiting for someone else to tell them what to do, awaiting the next instruction. Shaoni looked at Aniola once again. With a trembling whisper, he asked, "Who are these people, Aniola? What's wrong with them? What is this place?" Aneola stopped. He looked straight ahead, as if expecting some boy to appear out of the mist and walk up to them. Then, slowly, with a voice filled with emotion, he said, "When I passed here, about 9 months ago, a boy walked up to me. A boy about your age, a bit younger maybe. Out of the same mist he came and said, 'I know you can see the things that are hidden. You are the wizard Aneola. My mother told me you would come, and just before she died, she said, when Aneola comes to town, ask him to take you along and show you the light. Are you that man? Is your name Aneola?'" Shaoni felt tears welling up into his eyes, for only now he saw. And as he started to cry, the wizard said, "Don't you see then, my boy, where the road has led you? You are back home, the place you left just a few months ago." Shaoni looked up, his eyes filled with tears as he recognized the church, the houses, and even some of the people. "But what awful disaster has come over them?" Shaoni asked. Aneola felt the aching heart of the boy beside him, the same boy who had walked up to him out of these same veils. As he put a hand on Shaoni's shoulder, he said, "Nothing, my dear boy. Nothing has come over them. You are the one who has changed, for you have learned to open your eyes and see the world beyond the veils, the clouds, and the mist." Shaoni felt a stream of comforting warmth and energy running down from his shoulder, where Aneola's hand was resting, a stream slowly spreading all over his body. He felt how the energy healed his heart, but still, he felt a deep sadness. "But this is awful. Is this then the result of what you have taught me?" Shaoni felt confused and out of balance as he, once again, looked at the people around him. "How then can I live with such knowledge?" Aneola understood the confusion of the boy, for he had walked the same path himself a long time ago. So it was with sweet compassion in his voice that he said, "If you decide to sit beside them for the rest of your life and complain about the world for being what it is, then an awful life you will lead indeed. However, if you decide to see these people for what they really are, light beings to be awoken, then your life will be filled with joy and blessed with the most beautiful feelings. For now you have seen how it is in the light, and seen how it is in the mists." Shaoni looked at the people around him. All of a sudden, he realized the sky had cleared. He no longer saw shadowy lost creatures as he did just a moment before. He only saw potential, people filled with potential, light beings to be. Suddenly, a man came up to Shaoni. He had something like a light shining in his eyes, as if he saw something the others didn't see. "Shaoni," he said, "is that you?" Thank you for enjoying this chapter of Shaoni, Born from the Light. To hear more of these stories, please visit www.shaoni.net/audio. If you prefer to receive all of these stories in print, visit www.shaoni.net/book.